Welcome back to Nation of Glory, the home of real stories, the home of warriors, of legends, of those who fought not just in the ring, but in life. Today, we're diving into the fire, the family, and the fight of a man whose heart has carried him through every storm. The story of main event Jey Uso. So sit back, because this isn't just wrestling. This is life, blood, and legacy. Let's rewind time. Back before the lights, before the roar of the crowd, before the word main event ever meant anything. There was just a young kid from San Francisco, California, Joshua Samuel Fatu. A boy with a dream in his heart and fire in his veins, born into one of the most powerful wrestling dynasties in history, the NOI family. But this isn't just a story about family fame. It's about what it takes to become your own man in a shadow cast by giants. You see, when you grow up surrounded by legends, when your uncles, cousins, and brothers are all icons, it can either make you or break you. For Jey, it did both. The son of Rikishi, nephew of Umaga, cousin to Roman Reigns, the Rock, greatness was everywhere around him. But it wasn't handed to him. In fact, that family name was both a blessing and a curse. Because from day one, Jey and his twin brother Jimmy had to fight not just the opponents in front of them, but the expectations behind them. Imagine that. You step into the ring, and before the bell even rings, the world expects you to be legendary. The world expects you to carry the weight of bloodlines that built empires in wrestling. But Jey didn't shy away. He embraced it. He and Jimmy became the Usos, two brothers, two souls, one heartbeat. From face paint to fire, from oh so crazy chance to tag team glory, they carved their path. For years, the Usos were the life of the tag team division, the smiles, the energy, the Polynesian pride. But behind the scenes, Jey was changing. The world was changing. He started to feel something burning deeper. A voice whispering, you can be more. And that's where the story takes its turn. You see, glory never comes without pain. For Jey, it came through betrayal, heartbreak, and a test of loyalty that would shake the entire wrestling world. Let's fast forward to the pandemic era. The world had gone quiet. No crowds. No cheers. Just silence and the sound of truth. Jey Uso, standing alone, face to face with family, with his cousin, Roman Reigns. The tribal chief. The head of the table. Roman wasn't just a champion, he was an empire. And when Jey stepped up to him, it wasn't just a match. It was war. Family war. That's when the WWE Universe saw the real Jey Uso for the first time. No paint. No dance. No smiles. Just raw emotion, passion, and pain. He didn't fight for gold. He fought for respect. He fought to prove that he wasn't the other twin. That he wasn't just Rikishi's son. He was Jey Uso. A man of heart. A man of soul. A man who would stand even when his own blood tried to break him. Their battles at Clash of Champions and Hell in a Cell weren't just matches. They were storytelling at its peak. Roman breaking him down. Jey refusing to quit. The emotion. The tears. The family watching. That's when everyone realized Jey wasn't acting. This was real. When Roman locked him in that guillotine choke, when Jey's brother, Jimmy, came out with tears in his eyes. It wasn't just about wrestling anymore. It was about love, power, and survival. And when Jey finally said, I quit, it wasn't weakness. It was love. Because in the NOI family, loyalty means more than pain. But that moment broke something in Jey. From that day, he became different. Roman had made him kneel. But deep inside, something was rising. Something called main event Jey Uso. The name didn't come from nowhere. It came from pain, turned into power. From humility turned into hunger. From brotherhood turned into battle. And soon, every time Jey stepped into the ring, it felt personal. Every punch, every superkick, every stare, you could feel it in his soul. People started chanting it. Main event Jey Uso. The man who once lived in his brother's shadow was now standing in his own light. He headlined shows, carried storylines, and became one of the most emotionally captivating performers in WWE. Because Jey didn't just wrestle, he told stories. Stories of loyalty. Stories of betrayal. Stories of becoming something greater than what the world said you were meant to be. But the story didn't end there. Because life, just like wrestling, is full of turns. When Jimmy got injured, Jey stood alone. But he didn't fall. He rose. He fought Roman, then stood beside him. He joined the Bloodline, the most dominant faction of this era. Together, they ruled WWE. But inside, Jey's soul was torn. The same man who once stood against Roman was now helping him crush others. He smiled, he laughed, but inside, he was breaking. Because you can't serve two masters. You can't follow someone else's destiny and still claim your own. And deep down, Jey knew it. Every time Roman looked at him, he remembered the pain. Every time Solo Sikoa stood beside them, he felt the shift. The cracks were forming. And when Jimmy returned, the storm began. What happens when brothers fight? When family divides? When loyalty becomes a weapon? That's when we witnessed one of the most emotional storylines in modern wrestling, the Bloodline Civil War. Jey and Jimmy standing up to Roman Reigns. The twins, who had built their names side by side, now tearing apart the foundation of the family they helped build. Every look, every word, it wasn't scripted. It was real emotion. Real love. Real pain. And when Jey Uso pinned Roman Reigns, yes, pinned the tribal chief, the WWE Universe erupted. For the first time in years, Roman's aura cracked. And the man who did it wasn't The Rock. It wasn't Cena. It was Jey Uso. The kid from the streets, the twin once overlooked. That night, the crowd didn't just cheer for a win, they cheered for a man's soul finally being free. But just when it seemed like the story would end in triumph, came the twist. Jimmy betrayed Jey. The brother he had fought beside all his life. Broke his heart. And if you've ever been stabbed by someone you love, you know that pain cuts deeper than any steel chair ever could. That betrayal shattered Jey. You could see it in his eyes. For years, he said, day one-ish. But now, day one was gone. Family was gone. The bloodline was broken. And Jey Uso was alone. But out of that loneliness came evolution. He didn't quit. He didn't walk away. He walked through the fire. Alone. He stood up on Raw, looked into the camera, and told the world, I'm main event Jey Uso. And that wasn't just a line. That was a declaration. A man reborn. Because sometimes, when everything around you falls apart, that's when you find out who you really are. Since then, Jey has become more than a superstar. He's become a symbol. A symbol of resilience, family, and finding yourself even when life tears you down. His every entrance, his every promo, it's electric. The fans feel him. They don't just watch him, they connect with him. Because everyone has a Roman Reigns in their life. Someone who doubts you, controls you, breaks you. And everyone has a Jimmy, someone you love who ends up hurting you. But Jey's story teaches something powerful, that no matter who leaves you, no matter who turns their back, you still have the strength to rise. That's why people chant for him. That's why the yeet became more than a catchphrase, it became an attitude. A declaration of energy, of freedom, of not caring what anyone says. Jey Uso turned pain into power, doubt into drive, and heartbreak into heat. He became the definition of perseverance. And when you think about it, that's what wrestling is supposed to be, not just moves, not just matches, but emotion. Real, raw emotion. Jey brings that every single time. That's why the crowd loves him. Because he represents all of us trying, failing, falling, but never staying down. He's shown us that even if your story starts as one of struggle, it can end in strength. Even if you've been underestimated, you can still headline. Even if you've been broken, you can still be main event. Because the truth is, pain builds people. Pressure creates diamonds. Fire refines gold. And for Jey Uso, every betrayal, every scar, every lonely night only made him shine brighter. When he walks down that ramp now, you can see it, the confidence, the swagger, the freedom. No longer a follower, no longer a shadow, no longer just a twin. He's Jey Uso, the man who stood up to his blood and still rose. The man who turned every loss into legacy. The man who proved that sometimes the biggest fight isn't against others, it's within yourself. And for all of us watching, that's the message. That's the reason his story matters. Because life will test you. Life will betray you. But if you hold on, if you keep fighting, one day, you'll look in the mirror and see your own version of main event. So next time you hear that music hit, next time you hear the crowd roar yeet, remember what it means. It's not just hype. It's heart. It's freedom. It's power. It's saying I'm still here, even when everything tried to take you down. From a kid in San Francisco to the biggest stages in the world, Jey Uso has proven that destiny isn't written, it's earned. Every bruise, every betrayal, every match, it's all part of the masterpiece. And now, when we see him smile, it's not the smile of a performer. It's the smile of a survivor. A man who walked through fire, and came out shining. And if he can do it, so can you. Because that's the truth behind every hero. They don't just fight for glory. They fight for meaning. For legacy. For love. So tonight, wherever you are, remember Jey Uso's story. Remember that family can hurt you, but it can also build you. Remember that struggle can break you, but it can also define you. And remember, no matter who you are, you've got a main event moment waiting inside you too. This is Nation of Glory. The place where warriors are remembered, and legends never die. Thank you for being here, for feeling the story, for believing in the fire that drives us all. And if you felt this one, if you connected with the heart of Jey Uso, with the journey of a man who found his purpose in pain, then do one thing for me, hit that like button, share this story with someone who needs to hear it, and make sure you subscribe to Nation of Glory. Because more legends are coming. More hearts. More history. More glory. Until next time, stay strong, stay humble, and remember, everybody's got a main event inside them. This is Nation of Glory signing off.